Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorraine. If you hear any kind of weird whistling, clunky kind of noises, we're having a gale outside. A gale is like a hurricane without the circle. It's been going on for over 12 hours now, and the gusts are around 78 kilometers. Pretty steady. And one of the things I like in a storm is when the wind whistles, and it's been going pretty solid for hours. That would drive some people crazy, but it doesn't happen often enough that it bothers me. So I'm enjoying the storm. And today is St. Patrick's Day, and that is the real reason I am enjoying the storm, is because ordinarily we live like in the heart of the universities in downtown Halifax, and usually this day starts 2 days earlier. We've got the warm-up day for St. Patrick's. Then we've got St. Practice Day, which is almost as insane as St. Patrick's Day. And historically, the weather's been average to nice. And once in a while, we've had a bit of snow on the ground, but that hasn't stopped any of the shenanigans out there. But this is probably the first time in over 10 years that we haven't seen action out on the street. And it usually consists of groups of people wandering up and down the streets, carrying green things and wearing green things and drinking green things. And as the day wears, and it starts at 10 in the morning or earlier, and it goes until total systems collapse. So, yeah, I'm just kind of glad not to see that go past. I'll just move on. St. Patrick's Day does not need to be discussed in any. I could do a whole video on that if you wanted, but somehow it has nothing to do with books. Okay, I just finished. I managed to have a really good week of reading. Steve was away, and actually I did most of the reading before he left. While he was gone, I hardly did any reading. Seekers of the Fox, a Thieves of Shadow novel, is book 2 in the Fox Thieves series, written by Kevin Sands, and it continues to just roar along. The 5 protagonists, this is the main protagonist, Cal, and they have found the next thing that they need to track down, because I don't know if you can see, he's got an eye patch on, because the first thing they found was a jeweled eye, but the jeweled eye is sentient, and through its magic it got into his place. It didn't take his eye out, but it went over his eye, and then things happened and he lost his eye, and now he's got the eye. And it sees magic, it sees colors, it can sense things. And the eye has made a deal with Cal that if they can find the next piece in a trio of artifacts, that he will help the young guy who's Lachlan. He's right here. Lachlan was brought back to life in book 1, and the process of bringing him back to life meant that he has a piece of wild magic in him, and the wild magic is just sort of claiming his internal wellness and being and spirit and so on. And so the rest of the gang are trying to find the cure for Lachlan, and it leads them to the Dragon's Teeth, and there's a journal that gets found, and just when you think they've sorted it out, you realize, oh, there's over 100 pages still to go. We have more adventures, and so more adventures do ensue. It is a trilogy, and I would say that the only piece that I don't love in some of these books is the amount of journeying that people have to do. You know, I appreciate that a very powerful warlock would not hide all the artifacts in the same town. And so, you know, you would have to do a bit of traveling between things, but they've got 1 or 2 additional journeys in here that, I don't know, just there's sidetracks. You can have the sidetracks. Anyways, that's just a small peeve. It doesn't actually interfere with the story. Once or twice I've read stories where it did seem like an eternal quest to get from point A to point B, and not much happened in between. That's not what's happening here. We've got a fair amount that's happening. And the ending was pretty exciting, I would say. And the tension builds up nicely, so it's not everything's going and then boom, boom. It's a real nice climb to where we got to go. And then because this is going to be a third book, there is going to be a third book. There is not a cliffhanger. It's a fairly sophisticated exit, which makes the entry to the third book. So I do have it here. I don't know if I'll get to it this month. So today's the 17th. I might. Champions of the Fox, a Thieves and Shadow novel. And 5 young thieves mastermind a prison break from the Empire's most impenetrable fortress. But some people are better off locked away. That sounds cool. Yeah, so I hope to read this before March is over, March being the month of middle grade readers. Yeah, and so before I forget, there are people out there, if you prefer mysteries, there are people doing March Mystery Madness, and there are people doing March Mystery Madness for middle grade readers. So if you put any of those in, you should be able to find a couple of people who are in the middle of it and have recommendations and having a fun time. I have 2 books that I had purchased, I told you guys about, from Thrift Books when I was doing the research into my little book about swamp. My brain's not working. And this was one of the books that I purchased. And one of the comments that I received a few videos back was how this cover was just so scary. And once the book came in, I thought, oh, she's so right. That is a creepy book. And at the time, I was not keen on reading it. And I think it came under my nose somewhere in the last 10 years. And once again, I thought, no, I don't think I want to. It's called The House with the Clock in Its Walls by John Bellair. And John Bellair, as far as I know, has written 3 books. There might be more. There's book number 2 is in there somewhere. I'm going to say that the cover is way more scary than the inside of the book. It's so misleading. Yes, there's tension, and he does a decent job of doing tension. Yes, there is a terrible kind of entity in the house, but John Bellair is not up to the cover. It's a fairly simple solution. It's a fairly simple problem. It's a fairly small cast of characters involved. Nobody gets really strung out with fear. It's there, but as I say, it just does not come up to the cover. If you were thinking of going back into your childhood and braving the world and diving in, go for it, because you'll kind of chuckle along the way thinking, what was I worried about? Anyways, it's about Lewis, who is now living with his Uncle Jonathan. His parents have, I think they've died, that's pretty sure. And Uncle Jonathan has a friend next door, and they are both warlocks on the good side. And the house was previously owned by a warlock who was more on the bad side of the spectrum, and so somehow he decided that they were going to put this clock as part of the house, and there's some kind of ticking time towards end life, end world moment, and so eventually Lewis and Uncle Jonathan figure out they actually have a job to do. They have to figure out where this clock is, and they have to stop it. And I'm telling you this story and thinking to myself, what was the ending? Okay. At the same time that book came in, A Ghost of Windy Hill came in by Clyde Robert Bulla, illustrated by Don Bolognese. It also has a bit of a creepy cover. and I find the back to be a little more creepy, and it's pretty tame. But I do remember like not loving the illustrations, and I don't think that I read it when I was a kid, but I think whenever I picked it up, I just thought, I don't like, it's not a happy book, but it's actually a pretty straight ahead book. It's not an award winner, that's for sure. We've got a family who dad is an artist, and there's a mom, 2 kids, and they have connection with this family that owned the house on Windy Hill. And Mrs. Windy Hill has decided she can't live in that house at all. It has a ghost. It's really haunted. She's all spooked out. And so Mr. Windy Hill talks to this family and says, you know, would you live there for a while and prove to my wife that there aren't any ghosts? Because if you can prove to her that there aren't any ghosts, then she'll live there. And so this family, they're sort of house sitters, I guess, if you like. This is taking place when there are still carriages, and it's an undisclosed location and sort of an undisclosed era too. The clothing, the pictures are not really, it could be sort of anywhere pre-automobile. So the family goes and they stay there for more than a month, and they make some friends with a couple of the neighbors. And do they sort out the ghost or don't they sort out the ghost? I won't tell you. It's a very small book, and yeah, if it comes across your plate, I wouldn't go looking for it, but if it comes across your plate, you know, in a garage sale or something like that, I'd pick it up. It's a bit of a hoot. Also, the other reason it's a bit of a hoot is that it's of a style. It's sort of the kind of book where it's a bit of a teaching book, in the sense we'll show them what bravery is, we show them what courage is, we'll show them what superstition is. So it has that bit of teaching morality to it, but they don't write them like that anymore. So it's a bit of a throwback. Okay, the one book that, the book Seekers of the Fox, I thought was pretty good. I would give it about a 4 out of 5. But this one, Winterhouse by Ben Guterson, I really enjoyed. I wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5, but I super enjoyed it. We've got this young protagonist, Elizabeth Summers, right here, and she is going to this hotel. This hotel has been running for a couple of 100 years, always in the ownership of a single family, and everything goes along pretty good until there's a pair of twins born, and the one twin is a good guy and the other twin is a bad girl, and there's a bit of magic in the background, and one goes to the good side and one goes to the bad side, and the girl who's on the bad side just gets badder and badder and disappears for a while. And there's another cousin that also has disappeared at a certain time, because her rationale is, if I leave this place, then that bad person can never come back and wreck it. So a little bit of sideways thinking. So now we've got Elizabeth, who's the next generation down. And it's not clear whether she's connected to the family or not. It's not clear whether she's got any ties to the hotel in any way, but she's there for Christmas. And she's been living with her aunt and uncle, who are fairly poor and not interested in her, and not interested in any kind of softening of life. It's really bare bones. Even when they could have fun by going for a picnic or something, they just opt out, or they take 5 minutes and make bread with butter, and that's the end of that. So there's like no joy. And she comes to this hotel, which is just full of joy. That's kind of the whole ethos of the hotel. It's about joy and family and community and happiness, and taking it with you when you leave. That's part of the magic of the hotel, is that it helps you become a more content person, and in so doing you would leave feeling content and share it. So that's kind of the hidden agenda of the hotel. Well, Elizabeth comes along and very quickly discovers a magical book. She doesn't know it's a magical book. And she also discovers a young boy, just a little bit older than her, named Freddie. And Freddie is an inventor, very smart guy. And what these two kids can do, I don't even, I think it's got, is it anagrams? Where you would take a phrase like, just say, Dragon's Lair, and you would turn around all the letters and just see how many little phrases you could come out of it with. So like maybe you would get Noggin's pants or something, you know. It's just, they played with these word games, and they had each of these are called word ladders, where you start with the word tail and then you change a letter each word until you come down to a completely different word. So there's all kinds of codes and puzzles and actual puzzles that need to be solved. There's a special magical releasing word that needs to be found that's along the lines of abracadabra. So that Freddie and Elizabeth are neither very good at friends. They're both real introverts. And so they really don't know how to rub along well. So they like each other, but they just a little bit awkward and don't know how to resolve conflict. And so that piece is going alongside the magical piece, alongside what's the evil is kind of coming in a little bit closer and closer and closer, and so the time frame is just before Christmas to just after New Year's. So there's a fair amount of tension. The hotel is pretty cool. The characters are quite good. The fellow who runs the hotel is Norbridge, and there's an amazing librarian here, and he's quite an interesting character. And is he a magician, or is he just really good at magic tricks? And so there's all kinds of fun little questions, and the quest is not particularly difficult. It's a fairly straight ahead quest. They need to uncover the keyword that's going to solve a puzzle. But how they get there is fun. There's a book too, The Secrets of Winterhouse. And when was this one published? So I don't really know. This was 2018. So I don't know if there's more than two. I haven't looked it up. So really like this. It's like about a 4.5. It's a middle grade reader as well. So the book I'm reading right now, which is kind of unusual to me, The Secret of Lillian Velvet by Jacqueline Moriarty. And Jacqueline Moriarty wrote this series, Bronte Metalstone. Oh, look what I just found. I just opened this book. There's a pink feather. Like, who does that? That's so cool. Oh my God, that is so cool. I'm gonna have to go buy some feathers and start doing that. What am I talking about? Bronte Metalstone. This author wrote The Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone and The Stolen Prince of Cloudburst, which I just finished reading. And she also wrote The Year of Secret Assignments. I think that was YA. I'm not sure. She's a good author. She's like an automatic pickup and read. This book has a structure that I'm realizing I need to be paying more attention to it, because we've got Lillian Velvet, who at really unforeseen moments gets shoved to the world of Bronte Metalstone. Although at this point in the book, they don't cross paths. Lillian has no idea who Bronte Metalstone is, and I only know because I read those books. I wondered why I was... It's the world of Bronte Metalstone, but Lillian is not aware of that. And when she gets to the world of Bronte Metalstone, she's there for 15 minutes to a couple of hours, and when she goes home, she really hasn't been gone at all. And there are these gold coins that she needs to pay, like a toll bridge sort of thing, in order to be in this other world. So what I'm realizing is that because of these time jumps and stuff, it's not a good book to pick up and put down. This is a book that you're going to want to pay, at least an hour's attention to. So I've been just reading it at breakfast and lunch and realizing it's more of a book that needs a consistent reading. Not that I'm getting confused. It's just I can't entirely remember which jump she just came from. Lillian seems to be a little bit on the neurodiverse side, but on the other hand, she's been raised by a grandmother who's extremely formal and really demanding. So whether Lillian just doesn't have any idea that there's a more childlike presentation that's an option, I'm not sure. Whether she's just been really trained hard by her grandmother to speak in such a formal kind of a way. She is a thinker that's very, and again, I think this is the grandmother's influence to some degree, but she's a very, what's that word? She's a very intelligent, but she's not very nuanced. It's, so if someone said to you, like, oh, come on into the room, but you're already inside the doorway, you would know they mean, come into the room a little bit further, have a seat, da-da. Whereas Lillian is more, I am in the room. So she's a bit flat-footed that way. And it brings out some interesting responses from the world that she's visiting. So, yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm somewhere in the first 100 pages of it. And, yeah, exactly 100 pages. And I am liking it. Well, I'll get back to you probably next week. This is one I want to read for the week coming. Whoops. And I have two others sort of on the hop. One Year in Coal Harbor by Polly Horvath. I think this is book 2, and I'll tell you about it next time. The other one, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is an oldie. However, somehow it came across my notice that there had been a movie, and I think Glenn Close plays one of the characters from the book, and she seems like a real rascal. And there, Miss Peregrine is, I don't exactly know why or when, she seems to have to be turned back into her crow shape and go into a cage, and is taken away from the home for peculiar children. So that twigged a whole bunch of memories. I'm pretty sure I've read more than one of these books, but so I'm just going to scan this one to catch me up, and then I think I'm going to go watch the movie, if I can find it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out of theaters. So that's my goal for the end of March. The rest of the stuff here is all book club stuff or young adult, or I might get to Arthur the Seeing Stone. Ooh, there, that whitish one over there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. That's one I was hoping to do this March, so I might have time for it. I hope you guys are finding really good opportunities to read for this month. It's one of my favorite reading months. I really wish I could just be like August, where I hit the couch at the camp and just don't move for 6 weeks, 4 weeks. My butt really hurts by the end of August, but I just read and read and read. And this is pretty well my favorite genre, so I'm really enjoying reading. But I do have to get up and do things like mop up the leaking windows from the gale. I hope all your reading, what do I usually say? Hope all your reading dreams and adventures are coming true. Take care for now. Bye-bye.